Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the March edition of Headlights Live, our monthly broadcast to keep you up on everything good that's going on. It was great to see so many of you at the Line Summit a few weeks ago in Las Vegas. Today we'll be continuing on some of those conversations. As we get started, a few reminders. One is we welcome your questions. Just click on the chat icon and shoot your question in, and we'll get to as many as we can as we go through the session. A few things, reminders here. One is it's great to see so many of you have embraced silver certification. It's a great tool to go after the longevity market, or older adults as we used to call it. It's not too late to become a part of it. All you have to do is email the address there on your screen, training@wvlcorp.com, and you too can get your agency certified. As always, we're looking for input from you on what's going on in the marketplace. There's a phone number on the screen, the 558-0801. That is our insight line. Currently, we're asking a little bit about what your outlook is for the year at your agency and what your thoughts are. The message changes regularly, and it's a great way for us to keep up on what's happening in our agency family. Additionally, we have a networking through video. A number of you have shared these, and it's a great way to tell your agency story and share it with all the folks on the call. Today, we've got almost 70 people on the call, and it's a great way to tell your story so people know what's happening in your agency. Today, we actually have a couple of those that we're going to be taking a look at in just a moment. But before we go there, a couple of quick reminders. One is, if you received any awards this year, you have gotten a press release sent to your agency. Jamie and her team put together all the press releases for your quality awards, your sales awards, your hauling awards. Guys, that's a great story to tell, but it's not going to do you any good if you just ignore those emails in your inbox. You want to be sure to get those to your web folks so you can put those on your web page, put those on your blog site, use them in your social media, and of course, be sure to send them to your local press. Just day before yesterday, I was reading about one of our agents out in California. It already hit the newspaper and it popped up in a search for me. It's a great way of getting your story out there and making sure everyone knows the great work you're doing. Speaking of the great work we're doing, we're going to start with a video from Bruce Clark at Clark Moving and Storage, a Wheaton agent, formerly with Stevens. And let's go ahead and take a look.
I'm Bruce Clark from Clark's Moving and Storage in Rio Grande, New Jersey. We cover the southern 4 counties of New Jersey, the southernmost counties. If you ever need our services, give us a call, 609-889-0780.
See how simple that is? You just take your iPhone, make a quick recording, and text it on into us. Then we have a second networking video. This is from Mike Sheridan, owner of Sheridan Brothers Moving in Rochester, New York. They're a Bekins agent, also formerly a Stevens agent. Let's listen to Mike.
Hi, my name is Mike Sheridan with Sheridan Brothers Moving in Rochester, New York. We've been around for 20 years. If you need any assistance in our market, please give us a call.
Okay. And as always, we like to honor those who are doing an outstanding job taking care of our customers. Our 2 drivers of the month on the Wheaton side, we have John Caprone from North Miami Beach, Florida, and also Anthony Pollock on the Beacon side from Borman Moving and Storage in Illinois. If these guys show up in your shop, I hope you take time to invite them in, sit down, see what's going on in their world, and learn a little bit more about our network from the driver's perspective. These guys are the heart and soul of all that we do. We also like to celebrate our Agents of the Month. And Borman's having a big month because they're also Agent of the Month on the Beacon side. Congrats to the folks at Borman. And then, of course, DeVries Moving and Storage out of Florida is our Wheaton Agent of the Month. Again, congratulations. Keep up the great work, folks. Well, today we have a special treat. We're going to get I'll call it a State of the Union address from our president, AJ Schneider. He'll be sharing some thoughts. Some of this you might have heard if you were in Las Vegas, but he's got some things just about what we're looking forward to this year, what the outlook is, what are the things we expect are going to have an impact on all of our business together. So with no further ado, I will turn it over to AJ.
Well, thank you, Roger. It has never been said that it was a special treat for me to talk about anything. So that was very nice of you. Thank you. And by the way, I assume everyone can hear me okay? Yes? Okay, excellent. Well, thanks everyone for joining today. I will try not to take too much of your time. I know not everyone was able to come to the Summit Las Vegas in March. And so, as Roger said, definitely wanted to share a few of the things that we talked about. So what's clearly on everybody's mind is how slow 2023 was and kind of the lackluster start to 2024. But that said, here at the Van Line, we are trying not to live too much in the past, generally not a good way to approach business. We all know that higher interest rates and low housing volumes, low housing supply had a pretty dramatic effect on the household goods industry. But that was then, and we're trying to look ahead, and this is now. And so we need to make our best effort to get past that. And in fact, going forward, we see a fairly positive outlook for the housing market, which obviously has a positive effect on the household goods industry. And we think that's due to a number of factors, not the least of which is that baby boomers are continuing to downsize. An interesting stat, more than 50% of people over the age of 50 own more than 70% of the homes in the US. And as we know, and we've discussed many times, we see a trend that those folks are looking for smaller houses, they're downsizing, and they want to be closer to their kids and grandkids. All told, this group represents more than 30 million homes. That's a prime market for us. And the stats I just shared are also a contributing factor to the predicted drop in home prices as the supply of available homes for purchase starts to go up. And again, clearly that bodes well, not only for interstate moves, but for your local markets as well. So baby boomers on average have significant equity in their homes. And when those folks are ready to move, they'll be less affected by current high interest rates and higher prices, and they're more interested in quality of life and getting the equity out of their current homes. And so, generally speaking, obviously demographics are going to change depending on markets. Not everybody is cut from the same economic cloth, but generally speaking, it would appear that they have more ability to be mobile than many of the other age groups. That said, the predicted influx of homes being sold to the boomers, we think will cause inventory to go up with fewer younger buyers in the market, which will ultimately drive prices down. So again, good for our industry. At the same time, I was in New Orleans recently for the ATA, the American Trucking Association Moving and Storage Conference meeting. And economists there reported that the moving and storage, that housing starts on new homes have also picked up significantly. And while that's certainly not enough to make up for the lack of inventory that we've seen over the past 5 years, it certainly is enough to begin to make a difference and start contributing to a potential price reduction in housing moving forward. So in addition to that, and the settlement news by the National Association of Realtors is pretty recent news. The court case is a little bit older, but in some recent decisions by courts in Illinois and Missouri, the longstanding real estate commission structure that we're all familiar with, that splits commission between the buyers and the sellers, that approximately 5 or 6%, that's going to be undone. It's going to be decoupled. And experts believe that will force more of a market-driven commission structure that should benefit home buyers and sellers through reduced costs. Again, all things that could potentially contribute to more mobility within the housing market and better business prospects for us. So I'm not suggesting that the results of all these will create a complete turnaround in 2024, but we certainly think that there will be some positive changes felt later this year. Another thing on everybody's mind is what will happen with the implementation of the military's global household goods contract. So I'll start here. We're pretty confident that this peak season will be business as usual in the DP3 system. Home Safe Alliance, which is the contractor for GHC, has said that there will be some testing that will begin as early as the next several months. But at the end of the day, when we look at all of the things that are not yet complete or that are still in question and so on, I just don't think that that's going to happen in any meaningful way for military carriers yet this year. So it's possible that that will change into 2025. But right now we're looking at a peak season that will entirely run essentially through the DP3 system. So there's still some significant hurdles, as many of you are aware, to the implementation of GHC. One of those things is the contract that agents and the van line would sign to participate. We've been in close discussions with HSA to ensure that that contract is appropriate and that the language doesn't put too much liability on service providers like agents and drivers, or that by performing HSA business, it would put agents at odds with their van line contracts. And by the way, that's not just the Wheaton Bekins system. That's all the van lines are experiencing that same issue and are all reviewing those contracts for the same issues. Pricing is another one of those hurdles. And while we have continued to perform detailed analysis on the HSA pricing schedule, and I think overall we've made some progress on understanding the profitability of the pricing that's been put forth by HSA. There's a lot more to be done before the agents in the van line can decide if they're willing to participate in GHC. And that leads to probably the third hurdle, which another pretty major hurdle is the compliance with the Service Contract Act. The SCA requires that, the GHC contract falls underneath the rules for the Service Contract Act. And it requires that employees and service providers pay and can prove that they've paid prevailing wage. So there are still a lot of questions about how compliance will be achieved. For example, throughout the course of a driver's trip, when does the SCA apply and when does it not? If there's a military shipment on the same truck as, let's say, a COD or a national account shipment. The answers to those questions are still pretty unclear. And probably on top of that, one of the sub hurdle of that is once we have the answers to those questions about when it applies and when it doesn't apply, how will we track that information so that it's available if an audit were to occur on a particular shipment? So all of these are questions that don't fully have answers yet, and we're continuing to work closely with HSA. We're attending all the industry meetings, and we will, keep you posted as we gain more clarity on any of these issues, and we'll make sure that we share those answers with the network. One of the things that I think we've seen, and again, I'm sure you all have heard this out on the street, as the industry demand has been down, other companies, our competitors, have been experiencing some difficulties based on the slowness of the housing market as well. And what we've seen and what you've seen is that other van lines have cut staff with layoffs. We did not take that approach. We believe that if you want to have happy customers and continue to provide great customer experience, you need to have happy employees, and layoffs are a morale killer. We're already a pretty lean machine and have been for a very long time, but sure, we've certainly identified some areas where we can trim costs and where we're taking the prudent approach by looking for efficiencies within our existing infrastructure. But we have not gone that route, nor do we feel like we have to based on how we're doing. So I'm pleased to say that we don't fall into the same categories as some of the competitors that you've heard about out there. So coming full circle, volume is slightly up right now, and by the end of the year, we expect to be up about 5 to 7%. We've got no long-term debt and one of the best balance sheets in the industry, and that will continue to be the case as we move forward. Of course, our greatest strength is the strength of our agent and driver network, and we're very aware that the current economic situation and the low volume has created some hardships and difficulties out there. And we're doing all that we can to bring as much business into the network as possible as we move into summer and beyond. And so I wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk about one of those efforts, and it ties to the statistics I shared with you earlier about the baby boomers and the housing market. Let's see if I can do this here. So I'm going to try and move the slides, which I am not. There we go. What I wanted to do was to give you some better insight into the overall size of the older adult market, which certainly includes that baby boomer group. Please ignore that 10% on the upper right-hand corner of the slide. That was something I tried to cover up because I stole someone else's slides because I thought they were cool, and so it makes no sense whatsoever. But focus on the key statistics that kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about. The phrase that economists have coined for this group is the silver tsunami, and with the influx of people who are turning 65 or older, again, it just lends credence to the market that we're talking about. This gets a little bit more granular. This is interesting stuff, and this is from the U.S. Census, and it provides both overall numbers of people who are moving or not moving, as the case may be, compared to the population, and it breaks it down by age. But the ones I would pay special attention to, as far as this conversation goes, are in those red boxes. And what it shows you is the opportunity, specifically in that 65-year-old and older market, and for people who are moving in general within that, which again includes local and intra moves that you guys can take advantage of, but also very specifically the interstate portion of that group. So overall, I went too far. We'll just hold that slide. Overall, approximately 7 million people move interstate each year. Over the last few years, that's generally about the number. And so you can see that it is not an insignificant portion of that population that fits into that category. So we are not the only people who are seeing that. There's another target market that is an opportunity for us. The senior living communities, assisted living communities, the developers of those are seeing that the same opportunity that I was just talking about. And so I'm sure you've all seen it in your markets, but there are senior living communities that are going up, and selling out before they can even break ground. Here's some stats on the screen for you that are, I think, eye-opening. And certainly, while we have some great relationships with some of the developers that own these, this is definitely an untapped resource that everybody should be looking at in their market, and we can certainly help you look into that. To put it in dollars and cents, it's big, right? So again, I'm just trying to slam home the opportunity here, but there is a lot of dollars that are associated with this market, and if it's up to me, we're going to take every one of them. So another primary connection, which you guys have heard us talk about over and over again, but we really can't repeat enough, is that having said all of that and talked a little bit about the available market, I want to talk about this relationship that we have with the National Association for Senior Move Managers. For those of you who don't know, senior move managers are typically small companies that cater to older adults and perform a lot of what I'll call pre-move services before you get to what we do. So, downsizing, organizing, estate sales, junk removal, space planning, all of those kinds of things are done by senior move managers, and then they refer the moving piece of it to us, to moving companies. We are a primary sponsor of the National Association for Senior Move Managers. We are by far the most recognized moving company within that organization. And we have been working on building that relationship for more than 10 years at this point, and it's really paying off. Most of you, I hope all of you, know Todd Emmerich, who is our Director of Business Development. Todd has primary responsibility for that relationship with NASM. If you are so inclined, and certainly would encourage you to do so, please contact Todd, and he will help you to understand what the opportunities are in your market by introducing you to senior move managers in the market, who can then introduce you to the senior living communities that we just talked about, who can then refer you business as well. So it's all kind of tied together, and all of this will help us take advantage of some of those numbers that we saw. Okay, so last but not least, so my last slide was the last one. I just wanted to thank everybody for everything that they're doing out there and providing great customer experience for our customers, our collective customers, despite the challenges that are out there. So thanks again for your time today. We're going to do everything we can to continue to get as much business into the system as the housing market kind of repairs itself. And we look forward to a cautiously optimistic, better 2024 than we had in 2023. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have for me, for Todd, I see is online, and Roger certainly, and the RSDs. So I'll turn it back over to Roger and see if there's any questions or discussion out there.
Well, I think you give a very comprehensive talk there, AJ. I don't see any questions in here.
Was it the treat that you described, Roger?
It was absolutely the treat.
Okay.
I was looking
Excellent.
for. It was a positive outlook, and right now we're all holding on to the positive, right?
Good, as we should.
Well, now we're going to celebrate a little bit. We're going to be taking a look at some of our salespeople who won awards last year, and let's just take a few minutes and see all of those folks here. Well, congratulations indeed. And to echo what AJ said, thank you all for your efforts to support, grow, and build our network together. Guys, the only upcoming events we have are this same broadcast for the next 2 months. Next month is sales and operations getting aligned for peak, because let's face it, that's always key for maximum performance, is to make sure we're all on the same page. So look forward to that conversation on April 17th. And then in May, we're going to have everyone's absolutely favorite subject, and that is our claims reminders. And now, before we slip away, I believe Jamie has got something special to share with all of you.
Yes. So I don't remember exactly what time I scheduled this email. So you might already have it. You might get it in 3 minutes. We'll see. But I have been in contact with several members of the network who are marketing people and who perform that marketing function. We are doing we're creating a new marketing success group. So we're going to have anybody in the network who has any marketing function as part of their role. Once a month or once every other month. We haven't decided yet, but tomorrow's the first one. So you will get an email in the next 3 minutes, or maybe you got it 27 minutes ago, about that event. It's going to be a Zoom call tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern, which I think is 11 o'clock in the morning for you West Coasters. So if you're interested in talking about marketing, it's going to be just kind of a give and take where everybody introduces themselves, talks about what projects they're working on, asks for advice, that kind of thing. We just want to work together to make sure we're all doing the best that we can. So if you have any questions about that, reach out to me, but you will have that link in your inbox shortly. Thank you, Roger.
Fantastic. So yeah, what a great opportunity to share best practices and ideas with those around the network. So as Jamie said, if for some reason you don't get that email either 27 minutes from now or 3 minutes ago, reach out to Jamie. She'll get you connected for that event tomorrow. In the meantime, thank you all for participating. We had excellent turnout today. It's great to see everyone on here. We're excited for the peak season ahead, and let's have a great month.